Okay, so I've got the car turned around on the lift. Getting ready to put the front fascia on, but I did an inspection behind the oil cooler and, I'm sorry, behind the intercooler, and that oil cooler, which I suspected that could have had a hole in it, it's completely dry. Hopefully it stays completely dry and I won't have that constant oil drip on this side of the car. Alright, so let me get started. Just got to put that over here. Easier said than done. But it's actually not that bad. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the 4 screws that are holding this upper radiator shroud. They're 7 millimeters, I believe. 1, 2, 3, and 1 right over there. 4. And that's because the front fascia is going to come over and hook. It's going to hook onto this, and then the screws go through the fascia, and then through this fan shroud clip right there. Sorry, right there through the fan shroud clip and into this upper support. All right, so let me get started on that. Okay, so I got the 4 7mm screws out, and I'm going to carry the front fascia over here to the car. And basically the front fascia is kind of like that, so it's going to hook over this part here, and then I will push down and snap in these 2 corners right by the headlights, snap them into place, and then the front fascia will be held in place at the Jesus Christ, who's doing this? So then the front fascia will be attached, not completely or totally secure, but it'll be attached to the upper portion here, and then I could work on attaching it in other spots. Alright, so just remember, bring the front fascia over. You're just going to line it up here and push it down carefully. And remember, put blue tape on the edge of your hood here, and put some blue tape across the edge of the front fascia. Alright, so let me bring that over and let me try to get this done. I'll be back. Alright guys, I've got the nose attached at the top. I did this by myself. I just brought it over. I had the hood just like this. It's not closed, it's just laying down. And I brought it over and I pushed it down and over that lip. First thing I got, well actually, yeah, first I got it over the lip here, then I snapped in the 2 clips, then I put in the 4 bolts from behind. I'll show you. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And make sure you bring the nose, the front fascia down over that little clip right there. So you got 2 of those clips. And over there. Now we're going to attach the sides. You can see the studs here. Those take 2, 10mm bolts. I'm sorry, 2 10mm nuts. So I'll line it up, push it up, and then from underneath with some long extensions, I'll tighten these 2 up, and then repeat the process on the other side. Alright, so let me work on that, and I'll be back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got the 2 10mm nuts tightened down. This part of the front fascia is lined up pretty good, no issues. If you recall in some of my earlier videos, actually in the video where I told you to remove when I showed you how to remove the front fascia, I told you to turn the wheel out when you're trying to access these 2 bolts. So don't forget, turn that wheel outward whenever you're trying to get to these 2 bolts. And obviously when I go on the passenger side, I'll have to turn the wheels the other way. Okay, now I'm going to put in the side marker. The side marker is it's pretty easy to put in. It's basically just going to snap in. You're just going to press it in. 1, 2, 1, 2. You're just going to push it in. And then from the inside, you're going to have just one plug that goes right there. And it's that one right there. And there's plenty of room to get to the plug. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so while the wheel is turned out, now is a good time to attach these 5 torque screws that go on the inside of the fender well. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, keep this tire turned out so you have access to them with no problems. Alright, so let me get to that, and I'll be back. And those are, in case you weren't there in the size, those are T15 torque bits. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so I'm on the passenger side. I got the 2 bolts tightened down. And then I got those are 10mm bolts. I got the T15 torque screws, 5 of them. I got all them in. Everything's gone together very easily. Everything's lining up. And now we're just going to put this marker light on the passenger side here of the front fascia. And basically, you just press it in. Done. And then you got that one plug underneath. Right here. Goes in up there. Right up there. And then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so I got the nose secured to the car. So basically you have the 4, 7mm screws that go up by the hood. You got the 2 10mm nuts that go on each side here by the front of the fenders. And then you have the 5 T15 torque screws that secure the plastic fender well to the edge of the front fascia. And then we just got these fog lights, which will just fit in over here, right there. One on each side, obviously. And then the only thing left to do, install these 2 bottom air directors or deflectors, whatever you want to call them, and then the front splitter. This is double-sided tape, and this is obviously the, I guess it's vinyl. This is the vinyl material that you peel off, but I left the vinyl material there, and I'm using this as a buffer, so when this mates up to the bottom of the front fascia, it doesn't scratch it up and make noise, because this is actually very rough and jagged, and I don't want to scratch up the bottom of the front fascia in case if I ever decide not to keep this on the car. But this looks great. However, it hangs really low, and getting up driveways and going over speed bumps is an issue. So you always have to be cognizant of where you're driving. Like, I know which gas stations I can't go to in my area because the driveways are just too steep when you're leaving them, and I know which ones are an issue when you're going up. And I know if I go to somebody's house, I know whose driveway I can't make it up. So, alright, I'm going to put in those fog lights, and then I will work on these. And I'll be back. Okay, so now we're underneath the car, and we're going to finish attaching the front fascia on the bottom half. So basically you have this flap here. It's going to get attached and secured to the vehicle via, there's a stud here that's welded into the frame, and you have this nut and washer here. So it goes like that, pretty simple. And then you're going to secure the bottom half of the fascia via this bolt hole here, and then you have 1, 2, 3 screws. Now these are shorter screws than the ones that hold the front splitter on, whether you have an aftermarket or the stock one. So these 3 screws are shorter, and if you recall, these clips we're actually digging into the intercooler. So what I do is I take a fuel line and I slice it down the center, and then I put the fuel line, basically I hook it over like that so it acts as a buffer. I don't know if you see like right there it's making contact. You don't want that because, believe it or not, it moves around, and I had showed you guys earlier, especially when I was polishing this intercooler, just how much these clips were digging into the intercooler. So don't forget to do this, attach it here, these 3 screws, you got to do the same over here and over there, and then your fascia is secured to the vehicle on both the bottom and the top side. Alright, so let me get to it and I'll be back. Just want to show you guys again, please take a piece of hose or something and wedge it in between this clip and the intercooler. Over here doesn't make contact, but these two make pretty bad contact, and they dug into the intercooler pretty good. So take a hose, split it like this, and put it over. Let me get mine on, I'll show you. Alright guys, so I got my 3 pieces of fuel line in, and you kind of have to pull back and down in order to get the fuel line in there. It's a very tight tolerance, very tight gap. So remember, if you're running like a Pro Charger like I am, check out these clips, especially these 2. I can guarantee they're most likely digging into your intercooler. Alright, so this is a 10mm nut, in case you were wondering. And I guess, yeah, that's it for now for the front fascia. So the front fascia is attached except for right here. But I have a different setup. I came up with, I was using like this spacer here and stuff. I don't remember how it comes stock, but there's a nut and bolt, I believe, that attach here somewhere. Alright, so let me finish with this, and then I'm going to work on my front splitter. And I actually got to take care of these air dams here, these air deflectors. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so I'm getting ready to attach this bottom air deflector. Okay, and basically, see that bolt hole there and that bolt hole there? So that's just going to get secured right here with this screw and with this screw. And then, see this part here, this front part right here? Those are going to snap in over here. That's it. And then these will be in. So basically you're just going to use the 2 outer bolt holes right there and there, and then secure it here. And I'm sorry, and then the outer hole right here is going to go right here. So you're going to have to, I tightened this already, no big deal. Just undo this 10mm nut so it gets held in 1, 2, 3, and then up here it snaps in. Now, some of these are, I don't know what it is, but some of these are 7mm, and some of them are like, was it 9/32? So like the 7mm doesn't fit on all of them, so I have to go to a 9/32 socket. So just try them both. I don't know, something screwy with those screws. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I got the 2 bottom deflectors in, no issues. Just when you're trying to line up those grooves, you gotta pull down, like right here, you gotta pull down on the front fascia to get them to line up good. And all that's left to do is the front splitter, and it's just basically attaching all those screws and this little support bracket I made, which goes here and there, and that's it. The car should be fully assembled at that point. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I got the front splitter on, no issues. hard to see in the sunlight, but it looks good. The openings, how I enlarged them, looks good. I'll try to get another shot later.